It's the same dream I've been having for years. Me, in a colorful room full of arcade games and children, their stomachs bloated with pizza and soda. Everything would seem normal until I went over to the corner of the small arcade and played Journey to the Echoes. I don't know why Dream Me would always play that game. I've played it before. It was kind of fun. The game is basically you exploring a dark cave with supposed monsters inside, and you only armed with a flashlight and small pocket knife. Like I said, it was sort of fun, but the monsters rarely ever showed up, and when they did, the flashlight would always go out and I could barely see them. However, when I would start playing this game, all the other kids and employees would simply disappear and the power would go out. I'd turn around only for something to jump out, creating a loud noise while doing so. I never actually got to see what jumped out at me. That's when I'd wake up, breathe heavy, and then laugh after realizing it was all a nightmare. It was Saturday evening when my buddy Rob showed up at my doorstep for a sleepover we had been planning for days. For the first hour or so, we just sat around and ate potato chips while watching some YouTube. This is kind of boring, Rob finally exclaimed. I say finally due to the fact that Rob seemed to have been on his phone during the duration of the video I had put on 10 minutes ago on my laptop. Yeah, me too, I lied. It was a new video from one of my favorite YouTubers, but I figured I could just watch it tomorrow after Rob left. I closed my laptop and asked him, well, what do you want to do now? He stammered for a few seconds, trying to think of an activity, before looking up and shutting off his phone. How about the arcade? We haven't been there in months, ever since school started. I didn't see a reason why we couldn't. So we both walked over to my mom, who was in the kitchen, grabbing a brochure for a local pizzeria. Oh, hey boys, I was about to order 2 pies. Any toppings you guys would like? Actually, Mom, Rob and I wanted to go to the arcade, if that's okay with you, of course. Okay, that's fine with me. It'll save me some money. Just be back before 7, okay? Okay, we will, I responded, walking away. Thanks, Mrs. Berkeley, Rob said before following me. We grabbed our phones and wallets and headed out. The Fun Time Arcade was only about 5 minutes away since we live in a small town. When we arrived, we saw a couple of cars in the parking lot, one of them a rusted yellow pickup truck. Rob and I glanced at each other when we saw it and groaned. You see, we've seen that yellow pickup truck before, and every time it was there, it meant that Roman was near. Roman was this older kid, about 17, who always picked on really anyone Rob and I's age. Rob was now clearly hesitant to go in, but he gave in and followed me inside. It was loud and chaotic. Loads of you kids younger and older were here, most of them playing the arcade games. The rest were sitting in the small cafe, consuming pizza and soda. Just like my dream. We saw Roman and his goons, Dave and Herbert, leaning on the railing to the Dance Dance Revolution machine. They were laughing and didn't seem to notice us, thank God. Rob and I waited on the longer than normal line for tokens, probably because it was a Saturday night. When we finally got them, Rob and I immediately went to the cafe and ordered some pizza and 2 large Cokes. With the remaining money we had, we got hungry in the line. After eating, we went back to the arcade section, only for Roman's friend Dave to look up and smile at us, pointing in our direction while he most likely alerted Roman and Herbert we were here. Rob sighed and walked away. See, Rob and I came up with a strategy in case Roman ever was to see us. The 2 of us would split up, forcing Roman to choose only one of us to torment, and wherever Roman went, you can expect Dave and Herbert to piggyback off of him. However, if Roman chose me, the next time we all ended up together, he would pick Rob. It was a never-ending cycle of just pure, unnecessary bullying. Luckily, well, not for Rob, Roman and his goons followed him, leaving me standing in front of the cafe while younger kids ran past me. I looked down at my small cup of gold tokens, counting how many. 20, just enough for tonight. I looked back up and to my right and saw the only empty game, Journey to the Echoes. I remember my dream again, but also the fact that I've played this game numerous times before. Rob has played this game numerous times before. Hell, I've even seen Roman play this a few times. There's nothing to worry about. At least that's what I thought. I figured why not and walked over. A little boy with freckles and curly red hair bumped into me, making me drop my cup and tokens. I've seen this kid here and around town enough to know his name was Cassidy. Cassidy then quickly bent down and collected a handful of my tokens. Hey kid, those are mine, I said. It didn't matter, he already ran away. I rolled my eyes and scoffed, little brat. I picked up the remaining 4, just enough for a Journey to the Echoes. I hoped maybe Rob could lend me some of his tokens once Roman decided to leave and go smoke, no doubt. I finished my walk over to the old arcade game and slid the 4 tokens inside. I pressed the big black button in the middle of the controls that had the word START written on it in white. The game began straight away, no cutscene. I pushed the right lever forward as my character began moving forward. I pressed the light yellow button on the left that said flashlight written in white text as well. The cave became visible, revealing the dark brown structure I was confined to and the human and non-human skeletons around me as I walked. The kids, talking, and other arcade games around me became more distant with each second, something I picked up but didn't act on. It was only when a large, light brown, scaly tail was on the ground in front of me. When I walked closer, it slithered away. That's when I noticed I couldn't hear anything else around me. I looked up and around me and saw the 2 flickering cafe lights, the only 2 things lighting the Funtime arcade up. It was just like my dream. Everyone was gone. No employees, no Rob, no Roman, no Dave, no Herbert, no Cassidy, no one. The whole place was messed up too. Arcade machines tipped over, open wires creating sparks, the cafe chairs and tables turned over. What is going on? I couldn't be dreaming again. If I was, and I must have dreamt up an entire day of me waking up, eating breakfast, playing outside, meeting with Rob, hanging out, and then coming here. That's just too much and too long for one dream. Just then, another arcade machine fell, knocking over the one behind it. 2 light brown, scaly, 3-fingered hands with large, dirty claws grasped onto the machines, crushing them. I could hear the wires sparking and machines getting destroyed. All of a sudden, this giant creature slowly moved into the dimmed light. It had black charcoal pockets for eyes, 2 small slits under them for a nose, and a small triangle mouth filled with sharp teeth and a long, gross tongue. It just barely fit into the arcade, its head destroying the ceiling as it moved closer. It had a long tail just like in the game, and its skin was the same light brown, scaly color. I backed up only about 2 inches before bumping into the Journey to the Echoes game. I looked behind me for a second, but when I looked back, the thing jumped out to me, causing me to scream. When I opened my eyes, I saw myself from the perspective of the game screen. I was simply standing there, staring at me or the game screen. What the hell was going on? That's when I looked down and saw my hands. My 3-fingered, light brown, scaly hands with large, dirty claws. I looked back up and still saw myself standing there staring at me, but only for a few more seconds. That's when I snapped to it and started blinking, looking around at the arcade. Hey, what is this? I tried screaming to myself. I looked back to the screen just before Rob walked up behind me and tapped my shoulder, causing me to spin around. Hey, Adam, Roman and his dogs are finally gone. Want to go play Area 51? Yeah, sure. This game's boring, I responded. Rob smiled and began walking away, expecting me to follow him. That's when I, or Adam, turned back to the screen, looked at me, and winked with my left eye, smiling before walking away to go play Area 51 with Rob. I, or the monster, whoever I am now, staggered back, looking to the arcade as my body got farther away, disappearing into the crowd. Hey there guys, Justin here from the Fearverse. Thank you very much for listening to tonight's story. If you want to hear more, please go onto my YouTube channel and listen to any of the other stories I've previously made. Follow me on Instagram at the Fearverse, Twitter at the Fearverse, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Have a good night. Have a good night.